Demon Souls was a long fucking time ago. That was my game of the year 10 years ago. And this is my first Miyazaki, Soulsborne, whatever review since. This is some big shit. So I don't even know if I have to say it. Yeah, I played Dark Souls. I loved it. Dark Souls 2, still pretty good. Dark Souls 3, really good. Maybe the best Dark Souls. And unsurprisingly, Bloodborne. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's down deep. That's the good shit. Mwah. Baby, you're gorgeous. So now that we got that out of the way, you know where I stand, which is exactly where you thought I stood. Let's see what this is. Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice or More. Not the most accurate title. Sekiro kind of follows the more Bloodborne or Demon Souls model where they pick one aesthetic and kind of stick through it more or less throughout the whole game, as opposed to Dark Souls, which is a bit more Mario 64, kind of hitting every biome. And you know what? They're both fine. I'm fine with the variety, and I'm fine with someone sticking to like one thing that they're going to get really right. You don't have to force like a desert area. Although Sekiro does introduce a number of Super Mario mechanics. Chicken? Oh, chicken. Combat is the most changed out of all the Souls games. It's not just the verticality and the fact that you have a real jump button now. In other respects, you could say this is closer to Dark Souls than it is to Bloodborne, because Bloodborne had no shield. And while you have no shield in this game, you do have defense. Your sword is basically a shield. But you can't exactly turtle up, because now instead of stamina, we have stance. Or posture. And where you can drain stamina, you can break posture. And even having low posture is bad. But just like any Souls game, the enemies have to abide by the same rules you do. And you can take advantage of that. Tekken! It's a whole different take. Other games had backstabs, but not assassinations. Never gets old. And the verticality, while not just traversal, is great for defense and offense. You kind of have to unlearn everything you learned with the Soulsborne games. It's like, kind of like, remember when Dead Space came out and everyone was like, you have to unlearn the headshot because you're going for strategic dismemberment, not just like one between the eyes. I thought that was going to be hard. I thought my muscle reflex would like fuck with me, and like, I thought unlearning the headshot would be really hard, but like 30 seconds in, I was like, this is easy. And like 10 years later going into Sekiro, I thought like, oh, I have to unlearn Dark Souls and Bloodborne. That'll be easy. Nope. Nope. This was a lot harder than unlearning the headshots. It took me a good 3 or 4 hours till I was comfortable, really feeling like I wasn't trying to play Dark Souls or Bloodborne again. Chicken! But like once I got it, once it clicked, all of a sudden bosses that were kicking my ass, I could just fucking prison rape them bitches. Because that's exactly what a good Miyazaki game does. You hit your head against something, you're like, oh, this is impossible, I'll never do it. And then you think of a new way, a new strategy, you just take a minute. Find your Zen space, see what you're doing wrong. And then break that bitch with most of your health left. Because you realized you just needed a better strategy. Aw, Horsey said, no, I said. Chicken. And that's what Demon Souls got so right the first time that I walked into unprepared, had no idea. And Sekiro is no different. It punishes you for your mistakes, you learn from your failure, and you get good. Get good! And on that note, there's something we gotta talk about. And, I think you all know what it is. There's some bitches! That's right. There's some bitches out there.
Ah, yeah.
We gotta talk about these bitches. No, Sekiro does not need a fucking easy mode. Bitches. And yes, it would be a detriment. Quit your fucking whining. And if I sound like an asshole, good. Maybe that's what you need to fucking hear.
Message!
This is something that, to a lesser extent, comes up every time a From Software game comes out. One of my favorite things to do every 3 to 6 months is look at either Bloodborne or various Dark Souls games reviews on Amazon. But I only click the 1-star reviews and then read from there, most recent, because, oh my god. Somebody called the ambulance. You know, oh, it's not that I'm bad at this game, it's just that I'm not a fucking loser like you bitches. Because what people used to do is just deflect. Oh, it's not that I'm bad at this game, it's just that I have a life. I'm not a loser. If you're good at this game, you have no life. If you're good at this game, you live in your parents' basement. I would be good at this game, but I'm not some fag. Ugh. If you're this good at deflecting, how come you can't parry? That's not elitism. That's just how the game is fucking made. Taken. It's especially ridiculous in this day and age in which, you know, when I came up with video games, forget about how hard they were. Yeah, they were way harder. But more importantly, there were way fewer, and especially adjusting for inflation, way more expensive. So what limited you could get of any kind of game genre, whatever, that was it. Nowadays, with games being so much cheaper, so ridiculously cheap by comparison, with 1,000 more genres, with 1,000 more niches and 1,000 games of each, varying from like tiny indie to AAA, whatever your favorite kind of game is, your cup runneth the fuck over. Be fucking grateful, you little whiny bitches. And instead, what happens? Every time some whiny bitch complains that there is one tiny fleck of dust in the universe that was not made for them. You self-centered, spoiled babies. The goddamn fun wreckers. Welcome to Sekiro, chicken. And this time around, as people get more and more professionally outraged, it has hit peak stupid.
Living still in spite of dungeon fire and sword!
Because what people used to do is deflect. This time around, they're trying to scapegoat disabled people. It's not that I care about whether or not I'm good at it, but what about disabled people? Huh? What about accessibility? This is so utterly fucking ignorant. Number one, ease and accessibility are two completely different things. Accessibility means a controller that someone who otherwise couldn't use the normal one can use. Maybe if their body's compromised in some way, that's a completely separate issue. That's accessibility. Difficulty is how the game is made. And if you want a game made easy, or with an easy mode, no one's stopping you. There's a million of them. And by the way, let's see what some disabled people have to say about this. Fucking interesting that. Scapegoating disabled people is the bitchiest bitch that ever done bitched, okay bitch? Souls games are not hack and slashes. You can't just start changing numbers, okay? If you give someone infinite fucking posture, then it just becomes a boring slasher. And what's the point? If you take a Soulsborne game and remove the difficulty, it becomes a relatively short walking simulator that has some frame pacing issues. There's no point to it, and it has nothing to do with accessibility. There's a reason we have the Olympics and the Special Olympics. By your standards, we would only have the Olympics and it would accommodate everyone. And I think you can see how some shit would start to fall apart real fucking fast. Because everything does not need to be made for everyone. Checking. This is the pinnacle ego of modern outrage cultures. Everybody thinks everything needs to be made for them. We have so much now, so much more than we ever had before. Everything does not need to be made for fucking you. All right, let me give you an example. Out there, somewhere in the world, is the greatest gay porn ever made. Greatest. Amazing production value, special effects, everything's in focus, the acting, mwah. Now, I'll never see it. It's not for me. Does that mean it shouldn't exist? Of course not, because everything doesn't need to be made for fucking me. And if I'm not interested in something, I do not demand it go away or be changed. I just look for something I am interested in, because it's not about me. Everything isn't about you. Grow up, you little outraged bitches. I can't be nice about this, because you fucking scapegoated disabled people, and they're telling you to suck a disabled dick. Chicken. I get it, sometimes it's hard. It doesn't mean it needs to be made easier, it means you need to learn from your mistakes. What did I do wrong? What other items can I use? What other prosthetic can I use? Maybe a different strategy. What I'm doing now is not working. I don't know, but what I do know is that I had to learn in this game just like I had to learn in every other Souls game. Here's something I said 10 years ago.
If you're used to bang bang slash slash win win, then you can poop poop cry cry go home. A testament to a good game is that it makes you get better.
Of course, it's hard to tell people to get better if they've already told themselves they're perfect.
They are lost, my friends. For I tell you, if man believes he is descended from the beast, he must remain a beast. And as the young wolf turns upon the old, these innocent ones, corrupted and despairing of salvation, will turn upon their fathers, and our land will become a land of Sodom and Gomorrah.
If you try and button mash, if you try and just spray and pray your way through this, then any one enemy can kill you. But if you pay attention, if you're methodical, if you do everything on purpose, then you will be fine. Just take a breath and find your Zen space. Watch your posture, pay attention. Zen space, bitches. So I know it sounds like I'm dancing around whether or not I'm going to get to do I like this game or not. That's kind of a given. I mean, do you really need me to say it? Yeah, this is great. I fucking love it. One of the best things about it is it's different enough that it doesn't feel too samey, but samey enough that it's Miyazaki. You can feel it. It's in the DNA. It's in the shitty Fire Engine with its frame pacing issues. Like, it's like being surprised that Naughty Dog put out a good game that looks good. You know it's gonna happen, you appreciate it when it happens, but you know it's coming. So there's no real shock or awe. Yeah, this is like Game of the Year nominee material, easy. I mean, did you even need to watch it? Chicken. Snake! Alright, y'all properly chastised. I gotta do the ending part now. Okay, bye. Deny Guerrera Award. 'Cause, well, duh.
Well, would you look at that? Will you join me?
Without question.